All right. Kyle Hency here, co-founder, CEO of GoodDay, former founder, CEO of Chubbies. We have two really great entrepreneurs here today, and I just want to start by saying thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Christy, for joining our community.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Happy to be here.
Yeah, so we have the Tomboy team joining today, and again, really appreciate you being willing to share your experience with GoodDay and your experience writ large. Why don't we kick into this by telling us a little bit about the brand?
Yeah, TomboyX. We are a brand inclusive, queer-owned brand inclusive, or uh, see, this is where I mess up here.
Oh, it's great.
We are a queer-owned company. We sell undergarments, loungewear, all things that are inclusive to people's body, making people feel at home in their shell. However, however they want to be, we are here to help accommodate people feel good in their self, predominantly through underwear. But like I said, we have lounge, we have swim, we have uh, athletic wear. We have a lot of variety for our customers to be able just to really feel comfortable being who they are and how they want to express themselves. Um, and is that all?
That's great. No, that's
Okay.
great. You know what? You know what's amazing is I've actually known of the brand for the longest time. I mean, being at Chubbies, there's many similar elements. We sold predominantly to men, but like similar things where it's like, hey, like your clothes should be a representation of like you, and you need to be comfortable in your body and in your clothes and all that sort of stuff. So a lot of what you just shared resonates hugely. And man, you've done such an exceptional job with the brand. How many years has the brand been around?
We've been around since 2012, so that is quite a few years now. I mean,
Yeah,
I've been here for seven plus, however, that much more plus 20. I can't even do math and I'm an accountant, but
yeah.
it's been a while. So we're talking about what, 10, was that 14 years?
14 years. I mean,
Yeah.
any brand. I mean, I always felt like when we were building our brand, you get to that 10-year mark, and like there's something about that. Like what an awesome milestone, but also you've like survived the natural tumultuousness of building these things, and there's like this awesome audience of people on earth who are just out there living and breathing your brand and helping you grow it with you, and it's clear just from working with you guys on this side that you've kind of like crossed that chasm, which is really cool.
Yeah,
Yes.
we definitely have rabid customers who can't wait for the next underwear print to drop.
I love that. And maybe start on the personal side. So Rachel, what part of the business are you working on? And then Christy, what side of the business are you working on?
Sure. I lead our digital and CX teams, which means that I really think about the technology that's powering the TomboyX website and then how it's integrating in with our accounting and inventory and 3PL uh, uh, teams and software. So yeah, that's probably good enough for
Cool. And Christy, you mentioned accounting. If I
Yes,
remember correctly, there was like accounting and maybe other hats as well, if my memory is
exactly.
right.
Yeah. So I am the director of finance slash controller here at TomboyX, and I've also been head deep into operations as well for the last couple of years as well. So just really working on just the back end, making sure our numbers make sense for the business and how it's operating, and then also making sure we have inventory so we can have numbers so we can operate. So uh, definitely. Working both ends of the stick here.
That's amazing. And so brand's been around for 14 years. Clearly done a great job of building community, experiencing growth. Like what was the first time you started exploring Good Day, and what was kind of the impetus for it?
Yeah, our exploration of Good Day began, I think it's been roughly about a year ago, that we've been looking at the brand, and it pretty much sparked from our inability to get what we were needing out of NetSuite. Our team was smaller than we had anticipated when we came on with NetSuite, so we were thinking we would have way more bodies being able to be in the system and really work it. And we found that we weren't going to grow on a people level to be able to accommodate NetSuite. And then from a tech stack point of view, there were so many integrations. A lot of our team was finding themselves stretched with time and energy being spent mostly trying to keep NetSuite abreast and not being able to really have time to focus on the business at hand. So we were like, what can we do to help reduce the time spent for our team on the tech stack, and then also be able to actually get something out of the system that we all can utilize and use. So it was definitely a matter of efficiency, time, resources, also some dollars that played a big role in us looking towards GoodDay, looking for something more simpler that our team can actually handle.
Yeah.
And Kyle, I joined TomboyX last September, so I haven't even been here a full year. But when I came in, what I saw was just to sort of uh, amplify some of the things that Christy was saying, people were spending a ton of time making sure that data flowed between NetSuite and Shopify, NetSuite and our 3PL. And there was so much technical debt within
Yeah.
flows that we were just like treading water, trying to keep up.
Mm-hmm.
And we knew that there was so much additional work that we needed to do just to make those integrations work as smoothly as we wanted them to. And we didn't have the time or capacity or resources to do that work in the way that we wanted to. And then on the other side, nobody was happy. People couldn't easily get access to the data they needed to run their parts of the business as effectively or efficiently as they wanted to. And so we had this tool sold to us as best in class, but it wasn't really fitting the needs that we had as a business.
Yeah. Yeah. And one of the, I mean, this is a really unique version of this conversation for me because you guys actually had a functioning version of NetSuite. Like some of the conversations I get into, like that's the market leader in this category. And the more I dig, I'm like, oh, this system isn't even working end to end. So your team had like gone through and through a lot of effort, it sounds like, figured out how to get it to work end to end. But then it was like, oh, there's so many jobs, so many things I could be doing. Why am I spending all of my time making sure the data is getting from A to B? Shouldn't this just be working in some capacity? And just to like share, I mean, if I just rewind 3 years ago with GoodDay, that was literally the impetus. That was like the creation moment. You know, we were looking at our experience with Chubbies and saying like pretty much the same things. Man, we had a team of 3 people just keeping track of, is that integration still working and is the data coming through accurately? Um, and if you get into the like core design challenge of GoodDay, that again, 3 years ago, I would have said, I don't know if it's possible. Today, I can very safely say very possible and happening. It's just like, can you take that whole integration layer and push it down into the system itself? The system, and in this case, GoodDay, should be responsible for that, right? We should build a good enough system that it just does that. And we've taken that on. It's certainly not easy, right? So I kind of understand why that was still out there, but it's certainly possible. And then Christy, you alluded to it. The promise in the core design challenge that is now coming to life with GoodDay was, can we deliver all of this at a 70% total cost of ownership reduction relative to these legacy systems? And like, I didn't make that up. I was an operator and I was like, I think that's what feels right. You know? And again, it's hard, but possible. And that's what I hope is like coming through, you know, to our audience and our community, is that literally 700 days ago, these things, like the way they were framed to me, is like, yeah, it's just not going to be possible, right? And with this, we're living in this world where technology is changing and evolving so fast, month to month and week to week, that there's these whole opportunities that are just weren't possible 3 years ago and are now. And so I think you guys are a really kind of cool example of that. And let's get into the kind of like second layer of detail on this. Can you guys remember, was there any specific moment? I mean, clearly, I think, you know, Rachel, you're coming into the business. I think if I remember correctly, there's another one or two new folks in the business. So was the team just rethinking the entire tech stack, or what was the like impetus or moment in time to like really like kick into gear on this project?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it's a big question. We had a lot going on our end that involved this, and I pretty much was the change maker in this. I got a lot of pushback, and so yeah, I didn't think it was going to happen, but it did. But we had abrupt situation with our 3PL where we had to move.
Mhm.
And that was unexpected for us.
That's
We
right.
thought we were be able to make some changes towards the tail end of 2026, and it got pushed up until the Q1 of
Mhm.
2026. And with the dismantling of our 3PL and moved to another 3PL that actually just dismantled our tech stack. It took our integrations out, it wiped out our integrations with the 3PL completely, and we would have to fold all of that back in with a new 3PL, create new integrations. And with that being broken, it allowed for um, it allowed for something else to come in its place because of the time and the resources that would be required to bring on the new PL into NetSuite. And then also our contract for NetSuite was coming up at the same time as well. So it was like, okay, we have a NetSuite contract renewal that's ending. We have broken integrations. Can we find a way to save a lot of dollars and time on reinventing the wheel with NetSuite? Can we just pull in a new software altogether, let this one go, and then also build this new integration with our new 3PL? So it was really like a matter of circumstances over here on like what was going on, and it was a little bit of a train wreck of situations that allowed us to like rethink what we're doing before we just start just doing and recreating something that's going to cause or put
Yeah.
us back in the same situation that we currently were in. So,
And talk me through at that time, and well, one, I appreciate you, Christy, for being the change agent on the other side. But talk me through in that evaluation with Good Day, like what stood out to you all?
I think what stood out the most was one, it was the platform seemed pretty straightforward and simple, as far as like the it being straightforward in Shopify. Like we didn't have to add any additional integrators like a Celigo or anything like that to keep us in the right direction. So that was like the biggest plus because that was an extra cost as well as an extra third party that we were dealing with. So having that extra middleman was definitely a big plus. And then yeah, just looking at the portal itself was really simple and straight explanatory for our team. And just working on the inventory side for the last few years, I was able to pinpoint exactly what we were missing in NetSuite, and that was included in Good Day on just a very basic level because we were having issues, or I was specifically having issues with just getting our landed cost to be able to have a automated calculation within NetSuite. And so I was doing a lot of work on that on the manual side of things. And so that in itself was a good lift. And then also our team just being able to have visibility on inventory without having to poke me on it was a big thing. They should be able to go in it. It's the same mega frame or portal style as Shopify. So something people are familiar with looking at and viewing at already. So just being able to have accessibility for our team on that level was really important. And just something that was just really clean and really, not to say like dumbed down, but it was like dumbed down for our team to be able to
Yeah.
digest and be able to get in and figure it out was some of the
Oh,
key core things. And we just had so much change going on. We couldn't make a change to anything else because we just didn't have time and resources to like on a time level and on a large scale, like we needed something that was just very specific and honed in on what we needed, inventory POs,
yeah.
receipts, like that simplicity of it all.
And to that point, Christy, I think a couple of the other things that we were talking about as we were making the decision to move forward with Good Day was really sort of the promise of the system to give us visibility into everything from purchase order through account through when the inventory is received in one place. We are a team that uses a lot of spreadsheets, and the promise of moving away from some of those spreadsheets and getting better visibility and more reporting was really important to us as well as we were looking at the GoodDay tool.
Yeah. And I really felt that, and I know my team felt that when they were working through the onboarding. We'll get to onboarding in a second, just like the overall team that you're working with. But I think one of the things that I remember my team was talking through, because we had like a pretty tight time frame to execute all of this. It just requires a lot of collaboration from your side and our side. And they were like, man, this team is just on the same page over there. Like, we're about to get them a lot more seamless, a lot better centralized tooling. Like, imagine how empowered they're going to feel now that they have that. And that's one of the like philosophical things that was always funny to me in the legacy mindset with these ERPs, is like they kind of hide a lot of this data behind user seats. And it's like, man, we're doing all this work to integrate all these systems. Like, we need to let the data wild. Anybody who can get value from this inside of this organization should be. And that's like certainly a core principle and like thing we talk about a lot. Like, we cannot have all of these teams doing this work and then make it really hard for, the customer support team, working for you, Rachel, that has inventory questions. How about not bothering the supply chain? Just the system is up to date. They work really hard to keep it up to date for you.
Yeah.
We
And one really small example of that is we've been doing a lot of gift with purchase promotions this spring. It's a type of promotion that we're just trying to test and learn in a bunch of different ways. And we launched our first one, I think, before GoodDay was live with inventory management. And then as we launched subsequent ones, one of the things we talked through with River and the GoodDay team was, how do we manage this so that we can reserve inventory, which we had never been able to really do between NetSuite and our previous 3PL. And so now we have a tool for actually holding some of that inventory back in a really simple way that allows our customer success team to do what they need to do and support customers and make sure that they receive the level of service that we want to provide, while also automating the process for all of us, right?
absolutely.
Which, like ticking down or just like reducing the number of support calls wasn't on my bingo card for implementing GoodDay, but it's something that, has a downstream impact.
Yeah, and we do talk about that a lot with our brands, making sure that they're thinking about the value of the data broadly. I mean, the other thing, and I can't remember if you guys are already testing this stuff, but we're beginning to roll out our MCP with some of our brands that are working in Claude, and it's like a whole nother layer. That's this really cool, broad layer to allow. I mean, when I was building Chubbies, I'm sure y'all are like this. I was trying to find entrepreneurs that would build with me that had high agency. They didn't want to be held back by systems or waiting on other people to go take care of folks on CX or get the right marketing campaigns out. They wanted to be able to like get their own information, work independently, work on behalf of the brand to the best of their ability. And I always share with folks, I think these systems are best when they fade into the background, when they get out of the way. I mean, you were Christy, you were alluding, you're like, yeah, like I really like how simple it is. Like, to me, it's actually really hard in ERP to make things simple and fade into the background. That is the hardest part, because there's so much stuff it could be theoretically, right? Um, so I do want to get into the team on GoodDay. Like, talk me through, the onboarding process, the team you've been working with, et cetera. I would love to, just an open-ended question there.
I'll start. We met River as part of our conversations with you, and River has really been an excellent thought partner for us. She helped us understand. One of her strengths is that she is so good at helping you see what's possible, and she knows the space and she understands how e-commerce works, and she's able to say like, hey, you're doing it this way right now, but I think we could make this better, right? And here's how. Which has been, we knew that we needed that kind of thought partner, because for all the reasons that Christy was just saying, like, we were doing this way faster than we expected to, and with, I'll say, less of a safety net than we wanted, right? And so we knew that one of the things that we were looking at was how strong is the GoodDay team in partnering with us to make sure, how confident do we feel that we're going to get to the other side of this with the results that we want. And River was definitely somebody, of course, talking with you, Kyle, and then at River and realized that she would be the person that was really taking us through the implementation. That was really important and valuable.
Yeah, no doubt. Credit here. I mean, River really grabbed this particular project and was like, I think partly just a huge fan of the brand, also just like a little bit of a dreamy project for River, but also I think it was maybe like maybe 3 months into her joining GoodDay. So she had already had a steep learning curve of getting up to speed, and this was a big project. So I do think like kudos and thank you to River, a really amazing member of the team here. I think the other way to think about, this process is just purely like you guys were definitely taking some entrepreneurial risk through this journey. If I remember correctly, we had something like a 10-week end to end. We need to hit this date. We need to stay on this, and we hit it pretty much on the nose, if I remember correctly. Is that about right? I think it was about 10 weeks, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. We needed to go live with GoodDay by the time our NetSuite contract ended, right? And so Christy really led the charge to get our data out of NetSuite and stand up a separate accounting system, as she and I and the rest of the team were thinking about how to provide GoodDay with the information that you guys needed in order to stand up the system integrated with our 3PL to hit that date. And one of the things that I remember hearing as we did reference calls before we like signed the document, right, was the GoodDay team makes this really easy. I was like, okay, we'll see.
We try. We certainly try.
It's true, right? There was so much work that the GoodDay team was doing on our behalf, and working through with Mason Hub, our 3PL, to make sure that by the time we got to that date, the inventory, the information that was in the system was going to flow in the ways that we needed it to, and we were going to and the configurations that we needed in order to see that data and use it effectively, we're going to be in the system as well. And so I think that was really good. I think, and this might not be case study material, but I think this is the right time to share it.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that would have made the process stronger is if we had had a roadmap that we got a little bit earlier in the process, so we could see like, here's how we get from here to there. And I know that we were also pushing the timeline, right? So doing the work was more important than like providing that that schedule.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love that feedback, and it's something we've been talking about internally and even just operationalizing. I mean, we're entrepreneurs just like you all, and we have to get better at this every time we do it. And one of the things we've been talking about formalizing, which I think will probably resonate for you all, is in this case we had this tight time frame. Let's go hit this 10-week time frame. Let's get inventory cut over. Let's make sure 3PL is connected, etc. There's a whole host of things that we're beginning to formalize in our process called phase 3 optimization things. There's things you don't actually need for inventory go live, which is a very special and like a definitive moment in time, but things you really need to quickly get in order. And just formalizing that as a part of the overall process, I think will really help just keep expectations in alignment, allow us to focus on the key things early, and then stage things out thereafter. But literally, I love that feedback. That's feedback we've absolutely been giving. So we are here at the end of this. I have one more question for you guys, if you could humor me. Any advice? So other brands are going to be going through the same process. Any advice you'd give, these other brands? Maybe Christy, any advice you'd give these other brands if they were going through a similar exercise of saying, do I stay with the legacy ERP or should I make a move?
Yeah, I think for folks thinking about making a change, hopefully it's not as quickly and swiftly as we did. So you can kind of weigh your pros and cons a little bit better, but definitely weighing the pros and cons and just flushing through exactly what you want out of your system. Like, and really get those like top, like if you had like your top five, like what are those top fives that I really need to have out of my system, like the most important things, and compare that across what you're looking at and say, hey, if this can't fulfill these top five, then why are we even looking at it? And going from there, because yeah, it's nice to have all of these abilities in a big old ERP system, but like really what are the top five that you're looking for? Because everything else you can get really sidetracked with all the possibilities, but possibilities you have to have time to have possibilities, and have these big dreams and all these aspirations. But it's like at the end of the day, like what's going to be the most efficient, most effective product for your company that's going to make the biggest impact for your team is basically the best advice I can give. Because yeah, I know my team was looking at me crazy, and I was just like, we got to do it, guys. This is it's going to be hard in the process, but like we know we're not happy, and we know we're not getting our needs met. So let's get our needs met, and then we can think about the wants and fill those in as we get there. So
I love that. I love that. Rachel, anything you'd add?
Um, just when I think about, like, I call this our year of an impromptu tech stack transformation. Um, I
Yeah.
don't I don't wish that on anybody,
No.
but I will say that as we have changed our technology, it has opened up more and more possibility, and GoodDay is a big part of that, right? And so now as we look ahead and we build out maybe a more measured roadmap for our technology stack, having GoodDay as our ERP helping us manage inventory allows us to think about other tools in a different way, and to bring in simpler solutions than we were going to be able to bring in before we had.
Yeah. I absolutely love that. And that is my, as we've been like talking through this, I think my hope for you all is that you fast forward a year and you look back and like this was one of those big moments of transformation to position you for the future. I mean, there's so many new things that are arriving over this last just even 90 days that I just really, really hope, and I know we're going to fight to make sure that you get the most value you can out of all of these new interfaces. Um, and man, what an awesome time to be building, right? Yeah, whether it's on the technology side or on the brand side, it's such a cool time to be building. And really, really do believe having the right foundation in place is a big piece of what will make folks successful in this next, call it 2, 3 years. All right. Well, that's all for today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so grateful that you all invested some time back into the community. We're going to share this with the team and really appreciate you.
thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Kyle.
Thank you, Kyle. Take care.
All right. I'll see you guys.
All right, bye.